Happy New Year, bitches.
Get it!
Oh my god, you did really
Get
Going
it!
up my nose. I was like, no.
I was like, oh no, we're waterboarding.
Just throw the rest.
All right. Went up my nose again.
Yeah!
Recording in progress.
All right. Is everybody ready already?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's hit it. Hello, and welcome to our humble little podcast. This is Atlantis After Dark, the greatest place in all of cyberspace. Happy New Year to all of you out there in Cyberland. You know, I have a tattoo on my penis that says tiny. When I get it hard, it says Ticonderoga, New York. No, I'm kidding. It may not be 12 inches, but it sure smells like a foot, kids. All right.
That's the thickness of a Ticonderoga pencil.
All right. I'll tell you guys what. I'm ready to go already. I think you guys are ready too. So let's not waste any more time and let's meet today's All-Stars. Warming up in the bullpen. Earlier on, he was telling me that he's had sex nearly every day this week. I said, that's impressive, especially at your age. He said, you bet it is. Nearly on Monday, nearly on Tuesday, nearly on Wednesday. It's biffed by Adam West. What's happening, pal?
What's going on? That's a lot more accurate than actually completing it every day this week.
Well, at least it's some for the Happy New Year, right?
Well,
You'll be able to set goals. You have goals for next year, right? New Year's resolutions.
oh yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, pal.
Good to be here.
Next up, he is the Sorcerer Supreme of cyberspace. The other day, he told me a joke. He asked me, why did the sperm cross the road? I said, I don't know. He said, because I put on the wrong sock this morning. It's Retmus. What's happening, Big Kahuna?
That wasn't bad. I thought you were just going to say because he overshot it or something like that. But that was pretty good.
No.
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Damn glad to have you, pal. All right. Joining us today on this show, she told me it's that time of year again, time to do important things to make yourself feel good. She asked me, do you know the best way to love your neighbor? I said, no. She said, wait until my boyfriend is out of town. It's the lovely and talented DCL Junk. What's happening today?
Good. My neighbor hates that joke.
I'm sure he's surprised by the outcome there. He's like, holy shit.
Well, let's hope he doesn't find out. Let's hope he doesn't wake up.
Right. We're glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, he's the gangster of ganja. The other day, an attractive woman asked him if he was more interested in breasts or thighs. He said, I'm actually more into feet and anal. And that's the story of why he's not allowed in Popeyes anymore. It's SEKJU. Welcome to the show today, pal.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Right on, right on.
You got me thinking about something too. I knew I fucking forgot something last night, and you just brought the New Year's resolution. Shit.
Did you already break it?
Those, huh?
Did you already break?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say.
No, I forgot to even make one. I just got really fucked up and just, Happy New Year.
It's still the first, so you got all day.
Well, if you think about it, people in Australia are already breaking their New Year's resolution. So things are creeping up. The clock is ticking, guys.
It's true.
Just like every other pothead, you've forgotten already about the resolution.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Right.
I made a joke one in Zuzu's server the other day. Maybe I'll just have to stick with that one. I don't know.
Good. There you go.
Yeah. I said my resolution was to get more of my friends this year high on my supply. So it's a charitable giving thing.
Oh, all right. Thanks, buddy. All right. Everybody knows this next All-Star. The other day, his boss came over to him and said, "You're fired." So he hands over his badge and his gun. His boss looks up at him and goes, "Where did you get those? You're a bartender." It's Tewty. Welcome to the show, pal.
Hello. God, I wish I got fired from my job. That'd be great.
Really?
Well, not my bartender job, my other one.
Oh,
but
okay, yeah.
We can talk about that later.
Jesus, must be having a rough go at it. Well, we're sorry to hear that, pal. But
no worries, no worries.
All things will pass. All things will pass. All right. And finally, guest starring today. I think finally, did I catch all of you except for our special guest today? I think so. All right. Finally, guest starring today, he tells me that his neighbor is a real asshole. He said, this guy knocked on my door at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Lucky for him, I was still awake playing my drums. It's the man beast, Ryno. Welcome to Double AD, pal.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks to be here. Happy to be here. Happy New Year's to everyone.
We're glad to have you on the show. It's been a long time coming. You're finally on Double AD.
Yeah, I'm excited. Great topic today, too. Can't wait to get into it.
Yes, I agree. Welcome, one and all. And I'll tell you what, we have a lot of great stuff to get to today, so let's get right into it. Time to take it into some DCL. To make sure my gong was going to work today.
You had me nervous there for a minute.
I know. Well, I had me nervous because I'm like, well, why the hell? All right. As long as it's working. Maybe I should just move the gong from that particular pad. I think that pad is broken. I think that's what it is. Son of a bitch. Anyways, enough me bitching about my technical mumbo jumbo. Let's talk about the rework, the Cyborg Superman rework, right? This is something that's been somewhat of a hot topic or a bit of a debate topic here in the Alliance somewhat with regards to how she takes care of Cheshire, or how he takes care of Cheshire, sorry. I'm getting all mixed up here today.
It's all good.
It's New Year's,
didn't
right?
say how they took care of Cheshire.
Well, you know, he's a cyborg, so we don't really
he's a
know.
cyborg, right?
He did start off as Hank Henshaw, though.
Right.
So, I mean, and he was married, I think, at the time. So
Right.
he was in a more traditional relationship before his wife got barbecued in space.
What a way to go, too, right?
Yeah. Well, I
Lord.
think essentially his whole story, wasn't it like a fucked up version of the Fantastic Four?
Yeah,
It's like
kind
they get
of.
hit with cosmic rays and they all die brutal
Yeah.
deaths and he blames Superman for not saving them for some reason. I've always been a bit like sketchy on that origin, but I thought it was pretty fun.
Well, it's not like there was a ton of people in space at the time, you know, so
Right.
Superman would know that there was someone in space. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Oh,
I get where he's coming from.
Yeah, or you would think that, you know, like Superman hears things and prioritizes who he saves. So if you hear a bunch of astronauts screaming, save me, like Superman's like, I don't know if this one's a job for Superman. Somebody else has got that.
Kind of far.
Aquaman will fucking handle it. I don't know.
Aquaman.
But anyway, as far as the rework goes, I think it's a great rework. I mean, he does a lot of the same things as Eradicator at this point, and I think Eradicator was already a great solution tune for, you know, everybody's favorite topic, Cheshire, the new tune from last month. You know, I think Ryno will speak to that because I'm pretty sure he has one of the most kick-ass Eradicators out there. I'm very envious of it. But Cyborg Superman does a lot of the same things, but in a different way. He gains a lot of turn meter, which I think makes him a bit more beneficial because he can continuously keep purging those immunities with 2 of his powers. That long cooldown on his third seems scary when you see it at first, but once you actually play with it, it disappears after like 2 rounds. So, I mean, as long as you're getting him to use his basic and he's keeping his shields up and he's gaining that turn meter, you're going to be able to use that third relatively quickly. So I think it's a great rework for him. I think it makes him very relevant and useful against the current tunes that are dominating in PvP. Yeah, his debuff immunity that's unpurgeable won't allow him to avoid any diseases from Cheshire, but it will certainly allow him to avoid the bleeds and diseases that Trigon likes to spread. And, you know, we're always looking for people that can manage Spectre, and he can take a hit from Spectre too. Even though Spectre punches under his shields, he somehow can still survive some of those hits. And he can use his third and purge all of those intelligence, all of the immunities, and I've seen him one-shot a Spectre if you have enough intelligence ups, which, by the way, he gains permanently every time he taps his basic. So I just think it's one heck of a rework. You know, I don't think he's going to be S tier because he still has his weaknesses. I don't see how he's not A tier, though. I just don't, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think it's a great rework. He does a lot of things well. Don't be like me though. Don't fuck up and not take his turn meter up. I didn't realize he had a leader ability. I was just glancing through, and chose his fifth and didn't take the turn meter up. So I'm
Yeah.
not benefiting from that yet. Can't wait till this sale. I really don't know why he's got a leader ability though. It's not a good one.
Yeah. I mean, he's never led anything really,
Yeah.
other than, I mean, he's kind of taken over War World before, but he didn't really lead it. And I'm trying to think of any other time that he's led anything. Like in the Sinestro Corps War, he just wanted to die basically, and he was just kind of going along with the ride, hoping one of the heroes would be able to kill him, if I remember correctly. So I just don't remember him ever being much of a leader.
No.
Generally, when they do a rework, that's when they correct that stuff and give him go to a second
Yeah.
passive.
Yeah. I feel like that would have been the move here, but his leader still is functional. I want to say that. Like I poo-poo on his leader a lot, but it's definitely a move that can work with the right combinations. Like obviously an obvious pairing with him is Alan Scott because of all the shields and the sustainability that he gives your team. So when you throw those two together with him in the leader slot and he's gaining the death immunity and stacking those affinity ups, I mean, then he can really start taking hits from Spectre and Trigon on all these powerful blues and actually survive, clean off all their buff stacks, and really put you in a position to win your matches. So, you know, his leader isn't something that you're going to choose him in my mind over Martian Manhunter or over Superman or something like that, but it's definitely a usable lead if you want to use it.
So a lot of people are complaining about his big rock throw, the Annihilation Protocol's cooldown being so aggressively long, and whatchamacallit. My rebuttal to that is that it's still the same as it always was, but you just feel it more because he has a shit ton of turn meter now. So he's getting a lot more turns, and you're seeing that. You used to see that move go from like the 15 that it starts to go like all the way down to like 4, and then on your second turn you should be able to use it. But now he has like 6 turns between start of the match and when he can use it, because he just keeps getting fed turn meter over and over again. So every time you get a turn, it goes from 14 to maybe 11 instead of 4, you know. So like you're taking more turns, and that's why it's because it seems like it is lasting longer. But then I also noticed that like after the first time you use it, that cooldown, instead of going back to 15, it goes to 8. So each like subsequent time you use it, it gets faster and faster. Also, his abilities are kind of gated a little bit to the point where like his rock can still miss against Cheshire, right? Unless you use his basic first, or if he's not at the 50% shield mark, his rock will not purge all of the buffs. So there are things you have to consider before you do it. You can't just be like, all right, here's the rock, slap, and then okay, I win. But I think that's also where the leadership comes in. Like clearly that rock throw is probably the most powerful single ability in the game. And because it's so heavily gated, or not heavily gated, I'd say, but the leadership basically makes it really, really easy for you to meet all of those gates. Like, because if all of your attackers are giving you 20% shield every time, you're basically sitting at 100% shield the entire fight. Like, the only reason you're going to die is probably because Spectre hits you under shields, kind of thing. So his kit is really well balanced, I think, as far as like design goes, and like it's not overpowered, it's not underpowered. It helps meet his own gates in a way that isn't like aggressively detrimental to your team. But I'm not against it, actually. I think it's a good balanced counter, so I'm here for it. I might RB3 him. I don't know.
I
I
will
like
be.
him a lot.
I will
Yeah.
be doing that for sure.
Mhm.
Just so you know.
I definitely agree with what everybody has said about him so far. I think he is a fantastic rework. I love his ability where his 3 is basically pretty much colorblind, and it just having the ability to completely wipe all the buffs off of a character before you strike them is like unbelievably fantastic move. Especially like I've went up against Superman as the lead, and he stacks like 50 million, buffs, damage immunity, death immunity, and tons of strength. I mean, he has so much on there, it's insane. And he'll just throw the rock one time and all of it's gone and one shot him. And then Spectre's on that same team. Spectre can't stun him. So Spectre's pretty much useless against him for that particular ability. And just being able to counter pretty much every evader out there, removing all their evasions. I mean, he's a very well done rework. I'm enjoying him a lot.
Because that's what we needed, more anti-evasion.
Exactly. Especially when they bring out someone like Cheshire.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I didn't even have a problem with Cheshire. I just thought that like Cheshire with Trigon was just insane. That's all. I mean, that like the two together, that's a tough combo. But Cheshire,
it is tough to manage.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's like that's the same with every meta, but
Mm-hmm.
I also like the fact though that he can help you with those problem blues. Like I disagree that his 3 is colorblind. I think because I mean it does some damage, but it doesn't like one shot blues like you want it to.
Right.
But
right.
like after Spectre or Trigon have like ramped up and like have their awarenesses or damage immunities and a buttload of like beneficial buffs, you just erase all of them and create an opening for maybe one of your reds to go in and smite them, so using the rock at less as damage and more as just like a massive buff purge is still incredibly useful.
Have you tried using the rock after he has 8 intelligence ups?
They're colorblind.
I'm just saying,
it's colorblind.
Like, once he gets his special
I one shot
advantage with it.
Spectre.
Yeah, me too.
Well, but it's just like anybody.
What he builds, he has to build. But then
But just like Spectre, he doesn't go in and one shot everybody. It's all his stacks of int ups. Same with Arcus. He doesn't go in there just one shot. It's when he goes double tap, and then he gets all those strength ups, which empowers that, makes it more powerful. Like almost all the characters, when we say they're colorblind, it's due to the buffs that come along with that move. It's usually not just the move itself that causes that.
Plus, with that move's cooldown, you have to use like either his basic or a second a few times before you get to it. His basic adds 2 permanent intelligence ups every time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you use his basic 3 times, by the time you get to using his 3rd power, you have 6 intelligence ups, and more often than not, you're going to one-shot that target, regardless of their affinity, unless you're talking like, a higher rebirth, stronger blue, like a higher rebirth Etrigan or a higher rebirth Darkseid, higher rebirth Spectre. Those are going to survive that move, even with the 6 or 8 intelligence ups, but they're going to be heavily damaged.
Yeah, I agree. I understand that. But when you're fighting Spectre or even Trigon, those buffs are easily purged or stolen. And that happened to me multiple. I already recorded my Tewty tune, and I'll release it tomorrow or something. But whatchamacallit, I got all of my buffs purged constantly or stolen or however, which is why you're in that mentality that when you're fighting Spectre, it won't just like straight up one shot him because he's a green, so Spectre is targeting him. Although my favorite benefit of that is when Spectre does purge all of his buffs, he still doesn't stun him because of that debuff immunity that's permanent. And it just keeps him alive. It keeps him going because his constant turn meter gain and lack of ability to be stunned is very useful for him to keep progressing forward and keep ramping. So, I mean, it's a balanced thing. I enjoy it quite a bit.
I've been pairing him with Stitch a little bit, who hands out intelligence down like candy, and he is colorblind
awesome
at
pairing.
that point.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And even Eradicator does well with Stitch. Where I think I give the edge a little bit to Cyborg Superman is the survivability. Eradicator can be a bit squishy unless you have him high rebirth, but Cyborg can take a hit from Spectre.
What's really nice is also to use characters like Black Mask that can just like give him an assist and also put a taunt on him, so he'll build up those permanent intelligence up faster. Same thing with the Question. That's another good one to have on your team with him as lead, because his abilities stack up so quick, and then he just annihilates the opposite team.
So that brings up an interesting point, especially from our perspective in the Alliance. And Homelander mentioned this on our server, and I think a few people were not sure about it. But when I hear permanent intelligent ups, and I hear pairing with question and things like that, could this be a next raid tune as a non-bonus? Because I know we've been searching so hard, and we for another green. To be better than Arcus, and we haven't found it yet, and we still not sure yet on Cyborg, but maybe this is it. Who knows?
Yeah,
I can.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. It is possible, I think, because if that rock throw is massively damaging, I mean, it's possible. I don't think he's going to stack intelligence ups as quickly as we want him to. Like, he doesn't. It depends on how much turn meter he gets during a raid boss fight. Like, because Spectre gains a buttload of turn meter and is constantly using his basic. I'm not entirely sure how much Cyborg Superman can do that, but also the animation speed is a lot slower with Cyborg Superman, whereas Spectre's is just like a boom and it's done. So
good point.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's possible.
It's at least worth looking at.
Yeah. I'll definitely test it out as soon as raid starts.
By the way, as someone who's colorblind, I hate this appropriation of my disability. I'm not colorblind like those freaks. So cats and dogs are colorblind. There you go.
Yes.
As a kid, I had an actually blind dog.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing.
And they hardly care.
Just walking into walls.
One of my friends had a blind and deaf pug, Doug the pug.
Oh.
It was constantly getting stuck under a chair. It was the saddest thing. It was so sad.
Poor pets.
By the way, how weird is it that the old Blue Beetle kit would have been a great counter to Cyborg Superman?
Poor Blue Beetle.
Aw, I know.
So Biff, on the subject of reworks,
Yes.
I got to figure you're one of the people that maybe has Livewire geared and able to use since she's an invader.
Well, I have everyone geared and able to be used at this point because
I meant like full rings and all that jazz.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I only have five characters in the whole game that aren't fully ringed.
Oh, I thought that you had a few that were down at like the 5 ring level.
I have 6 left.
Okay.
Six left that are ring 5.
So have you tried her? Like, what's your opinion?
I have not.
Oh,
I did not do my homework. What I've read about her rework was less than glowing so far.
It's slightly better.
Yeah.
Like that stun makes her slightly better, but she still needs to ramp up. She still has, but I mean, I think she does evade a little bit more than before, and that stun does change it. But I don't think she's a game changer or anything like that.
Yeah, for her to be relevant.
You have to knock one of your other greens out. Yeah.
As an evasion character, she would have to be better than Bart or Jesse. And I just in reading the kit, I don't see that. That's why I probably didn't rush to it.
Is she special damage?
Yes.
Okay, so that might be a reason to consider because if both of your evading greens are physical damage or traditional damage, then that gives you a special damage option as an evader. Just something to consider.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely use her in her week. But I'm really bad at rushing to do my homework for the show and when these reworks hit.
All I've done was
I let
watch
everyone else
stream.
do the testing.
So I do think she's bugged a little bit because her 5th passive, the Living Lightning, her legendary point on it says that if she evades, she's supposed to have a 50% chance to use Quick Charge, which is her like intel buff move. I've yet to see that happen. I think she's, instead of using that, she's just using her basic again to retaliate. Like, so she's constantly retaliating, whether it's an AoE or if she evades, it doesn't matter, she's retaliating, which I think is slightly detrimental because the point of that, I think, is to gain those int ups faster so you can convert them into evasions. However, my biggest gripe with this is that they switched the ratio of like int ups to evasion ups into a 1-to-1. It used to be a 2-to-1 ratio, and now it's a 1-to-1 ratio, but now it maxed it out at 5. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's the point of purging all of these intelligence ups for just 5 evasion ups. Like I want to stack like 20 int ups so I can either like shit on people with damage and then gain a lot of evasion ups for defense. But they capped it at 5, and I was like, well, that doesn't make any. Why even switch the ratio at that point? You know, like
That's so
5 evasion ups is almost nothing.
Yeah, how many evasion ups does Cheshire get? And you're worried about 5? I mean, come on.
Right.
I mean, but you look at where the buff meta is going, and to Tewty's point, like I remember if when she was originally released, it was 5, everyone would be thrilled, you know. But then Cassie started the ball rolling of just these evaders that have so much that you can't get through them, you know, except obviously with all the can't miss. But so I think Tewty's right. You know, in today's game, 5 buffs is kind of,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's like a 30% chance of something. You know, it's like we're not excited by it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Well, here's hoping they can come up with something better for the next rework. Jesus. Let's talk briefly a little bit about our new tunes that are coming out. I think we got kits for them. Dawnstar and Mr. Terrific, who I think Mr. Terrific has been somewhat of a requested character for a while. I don't know much about Dawnstar, so what do we think? I guess what do we think? What's the deal with that? What's up with that? What's up with Dawnstar and Mr. Terrific?
What's the deal?
What's the deal with Dawnstar?
I'm excited that Dawnstar's in the game because that finally opens the door for other Legion of Superheroes characters.
Oh, that's
to join
right.
The game as well.
She's a third Legion. That's
yeah,
right.
so like she's the first like Legion character really to make it in the game. So hooray for that!
Right.
Again, there's so many different Legion characters that could open up new sources of characters. Again, they're always looking for new tunes to introduce, and you know they always seem to do something in line with something that's happening either in the comics or in the media or something like that.
Right.
And I believe Lurking told me something was going on with the Legion, or there's something coming up soon. So maybe we'll get more of those characters as well.
I think there's an animated movie or something coming out.
Something. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something going on with them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting Dawnstar at this point either, I'm sure. So
And she's been around since like the 70s, though. I mean, she's not like a new character.
Oh yeah,
Let's-
well, most of the Legion has been around since
Yeah.
the 70s.
Do you guys know anything about her bio at all?
Like her background?
No.
Yeah.
I
She's
don't.
like Master Tracker is like her thing, and
She's like Native American or something, right? Is that?
yeah.
okay.
She's like a Native American descent, and she's able to like literally like track anyone anywhere. So I wasn't
Gotcha.
surprised to see that she was going to share true sight with people and things
Oh,
like
nice,
that.
nice.
I highly expected that. I'm not sure where the whole evade part of her kit comes, or the anti, because she's got like evade plus anti-evade going on in her kit at the same time. Because I think is she the one that does the hit chance downs? I haven't really looked at that kit very thoroughly yet, but
But
she's got like the same thing where she's like hitting people with the I think evasion downs as well as the hit chance downs, unless I'm misremembering her kit.
But do you guys remember? Do you guys remember Apache Chief?
Oh
Yes.
Like I think they must have created her to be like, wow, I guess this really is offensive.
Well, have you ever seen my favorite character from the Justice League era is Manitou Raven, who is essentially the modern Apache Chief, and
Oh,
he
really?
even says he even does the Ine chuck and grows to
Yeah.
like giant sizes and stuff
Well,
too.
even Apache Chief
So-
was like broken English and just like, oh, you're.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
But you know what? I loved that character. I thought he was
So do I.
awesome.
I did too as a kid, but like I
Yeah.
forget where I was when I was.
Didn't they have a version of him on Young Justice as well, where there was like a Native American kid that could project like a hard light, like projection of himself, and it was like a big like dude, but he was like essentially Apache Chief. But the modern version, I think it was like season 1 or 2, Young Justice. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know.
Again,
I-
I smoke
yeah.
a lot of weed. I might be making that up.
They're all growing. Why are they so big?
Yeah, I don't know, but I just think having her in the game is cool. I was expecting her to have fast. I mean, okay, so she does have speed, but it's because she has that nifty little turn 0 speed up mechanic that will allow you to have like one of the fastest starts in the game, even though she has 111 speed. she gets 6 speed ups to start. So just like with Cheshire, those extra speed ups to start are going to give her some early hits ahead of people and kind of make you question who's going to go first in the speed game with the turn meter meta and everything. So that's going to happen with her, and it kind of makes sense because she flies through the universe at faster than light speeds and can breathe in space. Like, she's just as fast as the Flash when she's flying through space. So it makes sense that she would be lightning fast. You know, I've got to look more at the kit before I know whether or not I want her, but I think of the 2 tunes coming out this month that she looks better of the 2. You know, I'm excited about Mr. Terrific being in the game. I'm a little skeptical about his kit. I don't know what to think about it, and I don't want to do the same mistake I did with Naomi and just assume that it's not going to work. So I'm going to wait to see some game video and see some other people play him and see if it's something that I can work with. His kit is, I don't like all those weird gates on his kit. And like I was watching M4's stream, and I think it was him and Zubaz or him and Hawkeye that were talking about it and saying that, you know, he has got these ranges in his kit where like he just doesn't do anything. Like, if you're less than X% of health, then do this, and if you're greater than X% of health, do this. But what about that whole range in the middle? Essentially, you do nothing. So he's got a power like that like it's kind of a dead power if anybody's in that health range. So I don't know. I want to see more of his gameplay before I make a judgment call on him. But I think Dawnstar looks like she's going to be at least good or usable.
She has one of those too. It's like if someone has more than 100% health or less than 40% health, she does something like extra damage or something.
But I think that's like a legendary part of her kit, isn't it?
Right,
so the power still does something even if nothing's happening
Right.
in that range.
Yeah.
Like it's like a bonus thing if they happen to be either overhealed or below 60% health, I think is what it is.
She seems kind of like a Swiss Army knife. Like, she does a lot of things and can probably be paired with a lot of different comps. I mean, if you look at Nightwing, she has a thing where she removes all invisibilities, right? And that's one of the things that he does well. That could be a counter for him. I think she'll prove useful against Cheshire. She removes awareness. She's got a lot of good things. We'll see if she actually does them well.
Yeah.
I might buy a pack just because the tap joy for Android is so crappy. Like, you really can't get it. There's like a diaper caddy or something. You know what I mean? Like that's like one of the best. Like, first of all, people who play this game and have toddlers don't pay attention to their kids. So why would they have a diaper caddy? Don't you know your audience? That's all I'm saying.
It's true. The tap joy today, brutal. I'm looking through it because I've done all the good ones. And there's nothing. I found a couple that, like, for $15 of buying. I look for the ones where you can just buy something in game real quick,
and you get like 15,000 gems for it.
No, I'm getting. I picked 3 today that I'm getting 2.5 to 3.5 to 1.
Okay.
So a $42,000 for 42,000 gems for $15.
Oh wow!
In a 10-minute, I'll give you guys the name of it. Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, share that one, please.
Dislight.
Oh shit! I've already.
Oh
done
yeah,
that.
I did that one.
DISLYTE.
Yeah, I've done that one.
Doing some. I went back into that Ebony thing where I think I'm going to spend $35 for, I don't know, like 80 or something like that. I don't know, but. Yeah, you got to look for the ones that you can quickly spend money and get a 2.5 to 3.5 to 1.
Biff, I had that Raid Shadow Legends on my wall. I was up at 3 a.m. as the offer began, and as the offer began, it just went poof, gone.
Wait,
you motherfuckers.
Some of these. Are you saying like with the Ebony, you could do it? You said you're gonna do that again. You could do it more than once for some of those.
Well, you can, like, once you get a new device.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, like they show back up, but it's been tricky. There was a trick too where you could reset your advertising ID inside Google, but
it's against their rules.
Tapjoy's figured
cheating.
that one out and has like threatened banning people for doing that kind of little trick.
They'll unban you anyway. They're pretty laissez-faire about it. Like, I think I know a couple people that have been banned, and then they're like, I just wrote them an email, and they're like, all right, just behave. And
don't do it again.
Be better next time.
Yeah, don't do it again.
Right.
Hey, wanted to bring up something real quick. SEKJU, you were talking about Mr. Terrific's powers and how they were gated off of the percentage. The only thing I see is as his percentage goes down, he gets more ability. So if he stays at 100%, he's going to gain 5 extra strength ups. If it drops below 50%, then he gets another ability. And then when it drops below 25, he gets something else again.
But what wasn't there a range? Like, what is it between 50 and 80%? Isn't there like nothing that happens? Because I remember it wasn't. Again, I'm just kind of regurgitating what I thought I heard.
If he stays at 100%, like if he's attacking, he has 100%, ability, something happens.
Right.
Okay. When he drops below 50%, something else happens again. When he drops below 25, something else happens again. It's just saying when it hits those specific targets, he gets an extra ability. It's not, he doesn't get anything between here and there. It's just, these are the ranges he gets things. I think people misinterpreted how that works. Think of it kind of like Jon Stewart. When he loses so much life, he gets death immunity and all these strength ups, but he has to reach that certain point to get them. That's how they're doing this, so 100%, you haven't done anything here, you get these abilities. If you drop below 50% from damage, now you get these. You drop below 25, you even get this as well.
What does that, I don't have it up in front of me. What does that power do if you're between 50% to 100% health?
Let's see here. The whole kit says when Mr. Terrific is damaged, when he's damaged, he gains 5 strength ups, 2 turns.
Okay.
So he automatically gets 5 when he gets hit, when he gets damaged. If the hit point is below 50%, he gains 3 extra. If the hit point is below 25, he gains 5 extra instead. His legendary, if his hit points remains at 100%, he gets 5 extra on top of that. And
okay, so he's always getting at least 5 is what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's just adding more to the stuff as he goes down in life. That's all it is.
Okay, all right. I was just kind of regurgitating what I heard while watching the stream. I might have even misinterpreted what they were trying to say.
No, I know what you were talking about. They were like, well, he doesn't do anything between here and here. Well, his normal ability, he always gets something. It's just his legendary. It says if his hit point remains 100%, gain 5 strength ups, and if he's shielded, reduce fair play cooldown by 1. So his legendary will never work, I guess, unless he has 100% life. So that would be the one that's bad.
So it's kind of like, okay, so maybe it's more of a comment of, if we're thinking legendary orders, take that one last.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. I just kind of regurgitating what I heard.
Yeah, I listened to it as well. That's what I thought until I was reading it. But, I haven't played the character. But by the way it's reading, it's just like, oh, as you're going down in life, these extra things happen.
Okay. Well, maybe he'll be better. I don't know. Just the kit just is. I don't know. It's hard for me to make a prediction just reading it on paper. Like I don't know.
Yeah. How many times have we read paper and like, man, this guy's going to be fantastic, and they were garbage. And then we read other ones like, man, this is going to be garbage, and they were unbelievably great.
Right.
That's how I wound up with an RB2 Captain Cold.
Hey, I got an RB2 Captain Cold. I like Captain Cold.
I do too.
RB5 him. I will RB5 him eventually.
Okay.
I've got way
I
more
like Captain
shards than I
Cold too.
need.
Yeah.
There was some unrealistic hype on Captain Cold.
There was.
Yeah, and he's not as good. Like now, he's I guess he's usable, but is he? But I still like him. When he first came out, the first couple of months, I thought he was pretty good.
He's fun whenever you're having like a back and forth with like an alliance mate doing revenges, and you gotta you're trying to get to your 6th comp and not repeat using any tunes, and you're like, who am I going to use for lead? Ooh, Captain Cold.
we had an alliance mate in Atlantis that loved Captain Cold, and I used to bust his stones all the time. I used to send gifts of Captain Crunch to him because I said, oh God, Captain Cold can't freeze anyone if you can't stay alive.
He now has cuts all over the roof of his mouth.
Right. That stuff was like razor blades. It's made of razor blades. Shreds the roof of your mouth, man. So, does anybody else have any other thoughts, or does that pretty much encapsulate the new tunes? I mean, we can't really speculate.
On
the
new
we
folks?
can only really speculate.
I think that Dawnstar could have an interesting kit. I think that she, her animations kind of suck. I'm not gonna lie. I'm hoping her legendary costume is better, because her basic they don't look like they put a lot of effort into her, like in the hero list. When you just go click on her and you can gear her up and everything, she just has like no pose whatsoever. And maybe that is her pose, I don't know, but it doesn't look very great. I think I'm more excited now for Mr. Terrific because of his new mechanic of the moving buffs all over the team. And I don't think that he's necessarily going to be the damage dealer, even though he has like ways to get a lot of strength and int ups. I think he's basically going to be a support character that moves buffs around the fight. I think that's going to be his big shtick. So because that is like a kind of a newish mechanic, I'm excited about that. His animations are pretty good too. I like his third ability, but no, I don't really have a whole lot to say yet because mine are only like 2 stars at the moment and they don't have any gear or anything on them. So I don't really know how well they'll play at like level 80.
I think the big news this month is the Superman skin with the mustache rides. Look, I mean, I think that's the big news.
I definitely would love to ride the mustache.
My God,
His
looks
mustache.
like he looks like he should be lifting dumbbells at a circus.
Yeah.
That was his thing. It was like,
that was.
It's like those 1920s like freak show sort of things. The strong man, what they would used to wear, those traveling circuses.
Yeah.
That's what they had. Yeah.
Everybody's seen the animations that Hate Mail put out, right?
I have not.
Have the majority of people here seen it? I know you have, Tewty, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you notice, you know how Hate Mail always puts out those videos and he always shows the characters, attacking.
I know,
like
it's so annoying.
It's like
so annoying.
Attacking stage 1 character, right? So he can show off everything because they're all like he opens them up and then displays them. Do you notice like they had a really hard time just defeating the level 1 characters? They like had to go multiple times to defeat them. So it looks like they're very weak at their base stats.
Well, they're both support characters though. They're not strikers or anything. Like their design is not meant for damage or anything like that, I don't think.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's an interesting month because we got 2 just like interesting support characters. That was it.
Well, either way, it's going to shape up to be a fun month, I think.
Hope so.
Yeah. Now, I kind of want to segue into this because Biff had this idea that he wanted to go over this list of his, I guess. And he thought that it would be a good idea to do that on the air with us. So we will indulge Mr. Biff and we will allow him to grace us with this. You want to tell us what this is about here, Biff?
So, me and Ryno were chatting in our Alliance chat, and we got around to the subject of Cheers. And I'm a big Cheers fan.
Mm-hmm.
And years ago, I put together a list of my top 20 Cheers episodes of all time. And so right when I told him I had that list, Ryno asked for it and has already completed that. And it got me to thinking about another list about who are the top 25 sitcom characters of all time, and creating a list around that. And
right.
When I brought that idea out, some people were interested in it. So this is not a DCL topic. So, we've given you 45 minutes of DCL. If you want to drop, feel free. But we started talking about, what were the greatest sitcoms of all time? Then who are the greatest just characters?
Well, first of all,
go ahead.
I don't want anyone to drop. Keep listening to the show.
But I want to set the proper expectation with people. I'm not, Dawn.
You're trying to kill me over there, man.
Dawnstar is not one of them. It is not on this list, and it will not be game related.
Right.
So I just want to set the proper expectation before,
I hear you. I hear you. Yep.
And
if you're looking for some good shows to stream, you might pick some up through this, right? So keep listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how far back were you talking sitcoms?
This is all
you
the
mean
way
like
back.
all the way back to like I Love Lucy type
1950s
stage, Honeymooners? I mean,
all
the way up to now.
Actually, you just hit one that I missed. So let me give a disclaimer here. this is highly subjective. This is an opinion. And I will give one extra disclaimer, which seems odd for a sitcom fan like me, but I've never watched The Office. So there are no Office characters here.
Oh my God.
So that is that is my biggest disclaimer, but I know I've missed some. So feel free to shout me out and tell me.
I love how you're already prepping for Reddit to be like full of assholes.
Right.
Like I love that. You're just like, it's gonna be like,
it's going down.
Sucks. Your list sucks, bro.
Like Retmus just said, the honeymooners. I missed it. I
right.
He would be on this list.
Now, when you're rating these, do you do it just by how funny you think they are, by how lasting you think, what an impression they did?
Yeah, I think a lot of it. My criteria is really funny. Is character that you either were drawn to, or you hated, or just
a breakout character,
comedic genius.
Right. A breakout character.
There are a lot here that are in different categories. Like, for example, some of these are not the stars of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
And I actually have them in certain characters. Like, there are some support characters, Tewty, that aren't heavy damage dealers. But anyway,
I know who should be number one, and if he's not number one, we're going to have words.
Okay,
so I think we each have our guesses, but
whoever thinks someone should be number one, I guarantee you it will not be who I have number one.
I don't know.
Okay.
We've been pretty much on a similar wavelength.
It's not Sam the Butcher from the Brady Bunch.
I think my number one is Denny Crane from Boston Legal, William Shatner.
Oh wow.
He is freaking hilarious in that show. You need to watch that show.
All right, well, why don't we start
let Biff do his list here
as we get closer.
Awesome. Yeah, all 10 people that watch that show agree with you, right?
All right. Starting out the list at number 25, Kevin Arnold from The Wonder Years.
Kevin Arnold.
That's a great pick.
Okay.
Wonder Years. AB, you watched that?
I did. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Arnold.
So Winnie's love interest.
Right.
For people our age in our 40s, like, he was growing up at a time we were growing up. So it was a show that resonated with people my age. And you were dealing with a lot of the same things we were dealing with in junior high and passing notes. And he was just one of those characters that really resonated with me as a child.
Right. Well, I have to hear the rest of your list. Yeah.
Well, so just on that, actually, when I was a kid, I did a writing competition, and we had to write about something that influenced our lives. And I wrote about the Wonder Years because of that show connected so much with me, and I actually won the competition. But it was an excellent show, and no, teenage boy can't identify with the star of the show.
Yeah.
Did
Number
it introduce
24
you
is Apache Chief.
By the way, my favorite cartoon of all time was The Challenge of the Super Friends, Legion of Doom versus them, and I watched that the other day, and I have all the figures from.
They're on HBO. Yeah, they're on HBO Max.
So I was watching it the other day, and I was like, I started saying, how come we don't have Apache Chief in the game? And then all of a sudden, I just hit myself in the head and realized, oh, okay, yeah, now I know why. Same reason why we don't have Samurai, and
right.
Right.
And the Chinese, like, what was that? What do they call those hats? The rice, like the things that you saw like in Vietnam extras. Those like that's what Samurai was wearing. Come on.
Number 24, AB. I know you'll love this one, and one of my all-time favorites. Physical comedian that just, if you watch this show. My favorite one was the one where there was a misunderstanding. Three's Company.
Oh yeah.
And Mr. Furley, Don Knotts.
Oh, Don Knotts.
I love Don Knotts.
Number 24 on the list.
He's number 24. Don Knotts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, but remember, once again, this is a perfect example of a support character.
Not
even one of the main characters on the show, but just the laughs he gives when he overhears things.
Right.
The eyeballs popping and the
See,
And Three's
Barney
Company was
Fife
well before.
Yeah,
better
Barney
was
Fife.
Barney Fife a better choice? I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
Although I've
Not-
never watched
not
that show.
for
I've
me.
never watched that show. It's
Not for me.
Okay.
At my age, when
Do you know he was
Three's Company was coming out, the sexual innuendo
Right,
for
right.
someone
I'm
my
just joking.
age
I'm
was
just-
completely captivating.
he was born in my state, actually.
Mr. Furley.
Yeah.
State of Confusion?
He was born in West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia.
Don Knotts. We actually have the Don
that's-
Knotts Boulevard in Morgantown, West Virginia.
So that's why he's so bizarre looking. He
That's
was inbred.
right, yeah.
He was inbred, and that's why his eyes were so.
You know,
Just kidding.
Googly.
you know who went to the same college as me? It was Nicholas
Oh.
Colasanto, the coach from Cheers.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Went to
wow.
the same school as me, and we, there's like a picture of him on the wall and like the common center and all that stuff. All right, we got to move along. Number
Yes.
23, Judge Harry from Night Court.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Just
a
talking
great-
about it last night because the new one's coming on Peacock. They're redoing the show.
Yeah, so that
Yeah,
that
with
show,
Melissa
that
Rauch.
show, I really struggled with it. Should have been him or what's John Larroquette's character.
Oh yeah.
Dan Fielding.
Dan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like
Dan.
the show had to be represented, and I went with the main character. But John Larroquette very well could have been in this spot. But Night Court
Well,
was a
See, and
Night Court
this
was
brings up
classic.
a good question for me, because here's the difference, right? And I thought about this example specifically. I knew you were going to bring up a Night Court character. I have an argument that Night Court is a great show, period, full stop. And the reason it's a great show is because it develops so many great characters.
Yes.
So how can you say that there's one great character in that show?
Oh, I'm not saying there's only one great character.
Right. So are you saying that
most
there
of
are
these
more
shows-
Night Court people throughout this list?
No.
Oh, okay. So is there only one per show? Is that what?
No,
criteria?
absolutely
Okay,
not.
okay,
There's
okay. I
multiple
misunderstood.
from-
Settle
there's-
down, Reddit user.
That's
Yes.
right. I just want to
There is-
clarify for the
example,
Reddit users.
There will be another Three's Company. We have completed the Night Court and the Wonder Years portion of the show.
Okay. I should just let you read the list because
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
am
There we go. I agree.
right.
Okay. At number 22, Karen Walker from Will and Grace.
Love that bitch.
Yes.
Hmm.
Just absolute, just hysterical. Like, obviously the drinking thing always gives you bonus points with me. But just a really funny character in a show I didn't get into at the time, but I was unemployed a few years back and got into watching some reruns, and they happened to be on all day, and I did like the show. Number 21, Chandler Bing from Friends. Once again, a hugely popular sitcom. He's the only representative from Cheers, from Friends in this list. I know. Listen, not my favorite sitcom by any stretch.
Yeah.
But I think that the laughs I do get from it are generally Chandler, or generally his sense of humor and his, jokes. I think that it's one of those shows where I think should be represented in this list in some capacity, but you certainly can't go overboard.
Yeah, I mean,
with more
it's
than
such a well-loved show. I mean, arguments could be made for every character.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, sure.
but it is great.
Number 20, Edith Bunker
Yes.
Nice.
from All in the Family.
All in the Family.
That's
Dingbat.
Edith was
Dingbat.
fantastic, man.
just a character that played so well off Archie that just it was absolutely perfectly cast and perfectly written and perfectly executed from a humor perspective. Number 19. Oh, actually, you know what? And Edith starts a kind of a new category where I'm going to do kind of, I think 4 or 5 that fall into this right in a row, kind of the airhead category.
Okay.
And that just happened by surprise when I looked at it. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like 5 in a row that all were the airheads of their show. And Edith starts that off. At number 19, Kelly Bundy.
Oh.
From Married with Children.
Katie Seagal.
No, not
No, not
no,
Casey.
that's-
No,
no,
Casey
that's
Gar was the
Christine
mom.
Applegate.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
Who,
Yeah.
by the way, is going through
Yeah.
some health issues now.
Yeah.
So I hope she's doing.
We wish her
better.
all the best. We know she's listening.
We do. We do.
Well, she is now.
I heard she has an RB4 Captain Cold.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you say Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly Bundy, not
Yeah,
Peg Bundy.
Sorry.
Number 18, Fez from that 70s show.
Wow.
Kind of the goofy. I wouldn't. Maybe he's not an airhead per quote, but just kind of the goofy friend. In a really good show. I'm sure SEKJU would have. He's not big into sitcoms, but I'm sure he would have something to say about.
I'm sure he really would.
A member from that 70s show based on the.
Surprised you didn't do a
puffin.
Kelso.
Yeah,
Kelso's an
he was-
airhead, yeah.
But good point, Ryno. Kelso could have fit the airhead portion of this even better.
Yeah.
So, Tewty, I think there absolutely could be a case for Kelso over Fez. This is one of those shows where I felt had to be represented. So I did pick one.
One of my favorite interactions from that show is Red and Fez. Just the
Yeah.
banter that they have back and forth is classic.
Yeah. And by the way, Red could be
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
a
Red.
character on this list.
He-
Just
he
the
had-
hard ass dad.
He had one joke that survived the entire show, and it was funny every time. And it was the foot in his ass. That was it.
There's something for predictability
Oh.
in humor. The last member of the airhead category at number 17, Rose from the Golden Girls.
Oh, love the Golden Girls.
Yeah, I mean, once again, a show that had to be represented, and to me, it wasn't even close who would be the one from that show. But she was the one everyone loved, and by the way, just an absolutely beloved actress. May she rest in peace. And yeah, she was super funny.
Tewty and I are going to be the remake of Golden Girls. Actually, we're
Are you really?
Yeah.
Who's playing Blanche?
Tewty.
Tooty's playing Blanche. All right.
100%.
How could you not cast Tootie in that role? I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
I get all of the men. Don't worry.
It's an update, so I'm just the one who steals all the medicine from people. It's a different character.
I seen that one recently.
A few more years, though. I need a few more wrinkles.
These
What was
these show recaps kind of write themselves.
What
as
was
we
it,
move
Betty?
through
Wait,
this.
she always made the jokes. What was about? Was it Olaf or where's she from? I
Oh
can't
yeah,
remember.
she was
Saint
from,
Olaf or something.
Yeah, Saint Olaf. Or yeah.
Yeah, all her jokes were like, well, back in the day at this place, and we always used to do this here. Everything was about that. She was awesome.
All right, number 16, Alex P. Keaton from Family Ties.
Yeah.
Once again, another beloved actor that has gone through a lot of medical problems and everything, but
he's a survivor. He's a fighter.
He is.
He's listening. We're on your side.
That's right. Thanks, buddy.
But yeah, I mean, the Family Ties. What can you say? And he obviously stole that show. There was not.
Oh yeah.
There was no other candidate.
Yeah, he was the star of that show. Yeah,
absolutely. Number 15, Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother. I think a wildly funny comedian, and just, I mean, he's done so many good things. He could have been on this list from two different shows. Doogie Howser could have made this list. But that actor and that character that he played as Barney Stinson, that is just really, really good.
I'm glad you said Barney and not Ted, because I would have discredited this entire list.
I would figure. And by the way, I mean, there's no way. Ted is
the reason why I can't watch that show.
There's no other character in that show that could even sniff this episode. And it was definitely Barney was the cream of that show. And you're right.
I'll be his cream.
Ted is painful. Number, what are we? I have this. Hey, number 14, Cam Tucker from Modern Family. No reaction.
I didn't watch that show.
Yeah.
You never watched Modern Family?
I've never watched Modern Family.
Oh, okay. So
I also like Mitch. Like that's a hard toss up there because Mitch is kind of sarcastic and snarky. Cam is great. I'm just glad you didn't pick Phil. He's kind of in that Ted category for me.
No, I don't, and I also don't like although I loved her in Happy Gilmore, I don't necessarily love the mom in that show.
Yeah.
But
I'm a big fan of Sophia Vergara.
we won't go back more into Cam because we don't have a lot of Modern Family watchers.
I don't watch Modern. I can't stand Sophia Vergara. She grates my nerves. That voice of hers.
You're watching it wrong. It's supposed to be on mute.
Yeah, no.
Just subtitle it.
No.
And number 14, the Fonz. Arthur Fonzarelli from Happy Days.
Now I'm going to be pissed because Tewty, I'm on your side. I'm officially boycotting this entire list. Fonzie is number 14. He should be number 1.
Henry Winkler?
He should be number 1.
Oh, okay.
I also refuse to buy gems during the raid.
What?
I'm just being the Reddit user.
So I knew I'd probably take some heat on that one for being so
taking
low.
heat from me, pal.
Honestly, AB, I had forgotten him completely until after I finished the list. I heard someone say Happy Days or something. I was like, oh shit. I forgot the Fonz.
Listeners, if you're out there, we're looking for a replacement for Biff. If you happen to come, no, I'm teasing.
And by the way, I'm going to make it worse with some of the ones that are upcoming because you're going to be like, "How is he higher than him?"
Well, I'm going to say, how is everyone higher than Fonz? Fonz is like a cultural icon. How can you not pick him to be number 1?
And by the way, I would not put him number 1, but he probably, in retrospect and looking at some of the names I have coming up, probably should have been higher.
I accept your apology.
Based on the cultural impact and
on behalf of Reddit, I accept your apology.
And Henry Winkler was funny in Black Adam.
He was great in that.
And Waterboy.
I just love Henry Winkler.
More recent DCL. I was just trying to tie it in. He's great in everything, like Arrested Development.
But I think so with Happy Days, he's definitely, it would have been the same without the Fonz, right? So he's definitely the star character, but where does Happy Days sit in terms of your favorite shows?
Oh, not at all. But there's no denying that he's one of the greatest characters, you know?
And to Ryno's point, that might be why I knocked him down a little bit, just because to me, I wasn't big on the show.
Fair enough.
But iconic. Nonetheless, and actually, I think I said 14. He's 13.
Oh, he's 13. So who's 14?
So there you go, AB. One less.
Okay. Well,
replace me.
Well.
Okay. Number 12, and obviously, I'm a little biased with this show because it's my favorite show and my number 1 sitcom of all time. But number 12 is Cliff Clavin.
Oh yeah.
Just one of those. Just the show Cheers is just so relatable, just wanting to go somewhere where everyone was friends and everyone, knew what to expect from you, and you always knew, what to expect with Cliff Clavin. And if you've never seen Cheers, please reach out to me for my top 20 episodes of all time. But also, get to know who Cliff Clavin is, because like Tewty said before about, Red from that 70s show, Cliff did the same bit over and over and over for 20 years, and it just worked.
It was kind of reminding me like, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rhett.
I was just saying he kind of reminds me of like the walking encyclopedia, because he always had like all these facts all the time about everything. And I mean, I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, my favorite episode was the Jeopardy episode.
Yeah.
Mothers and Sons, beers from around the world. I use the Cliff Clavin joke every month when the new characters come out.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Who are two heroes and villains that have never been in my kitchen.
Right.
That's what I always say, because that was Cliff Clavin's. Cliff dominated Jeopardy and got to Final Jeopardy and didn't know the answer and bet everything. He didn't have to win. And they named 2 people, and he just wrote, "Who are 2 people that have never been in my kitchen?" And Alex Trebek said he was wrong, and he goes, "Be that as may, Alex, Those people have never been in my kitchen.
Is he your only Cheers rep?
Oh God, no.
Okay, good.
Oh no, we got
Okay.
a few. We got a few to come.
Okay.
Number 11, Sheldon Cooper.
Ooh.
You know, just someone from, you know, more recent, obviously Big Bang Theory,
Yeah.
just a wildly, you know, and, you know, just crazy character. I mean, I guess you could also give him credit for, I'm talking about the Big Bang Theory, not necessarily young Sheldon, but you could put the character together and give him, you know, double points for that. But just a super funny character that I think a lot of people, certainly in our listening audience, can relate to a little bit. So now we're into the top 10. So this is really now we're really getting up into the upper echelon. And number 10 is Kramer from Seinfeld.
Kramer, okay.
Yeah.
And if I look at these next three, I think these probably get your best supporting actor, you know, categories 10, 9, and 8 here. But Kramer, just, you know, Seinfeld was a great show, but he was one of those that just made the show. You know, just physical comedian, but just the goofy neighbor that you could never get rid of.
Well, we got rid of him, all right. He got canceled.
Not in Seinfeld.
Well, no, not in Seinfeld, but
right
after the fact.
Anyone can be, yeah. A lot of people get canceled these days. I don't even know. What did Kramer even do?
Oh, but God, you don't remember? He said the N-word.
Oh, God.
Oh,
right?
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Yeah,
that'll do it all right.
Yeah. No, that's not a good one.
No.
And by the way, I didn't even know that when putting him in this list. I might have even knocked him down a peg.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Number 9, another Cheers representative, Mr. Norm Peterson.
Norm.
My friendly neighborhood beer guzzling guy at the end of the bar. Like just self-deprecating, funny. Once again, Tewty, another guy that just had the same bit, you know, although he made a different joke every time, but it was man walks into a bar, says something funny. You know, I was watching an episode the other night and Rebecca was whining and by the way, Kirstie Alley just passed away too.
Yeah.
So that got me in. I think that's what got us into the Cheers discussion overall. But she was sitting in Norm's stool and she was just saying, I just want to sit here. You know, I just want to sit here and not move until the day I die and whatever. And Norm just grabbed a bowl of beer nuts and said, yeah, try it with beer nuts. You know, just saying that was how and then she kept talking and he's like, maybe it's the stool. But just a funny, super character. And from my favorite sitcom of all time. Number 8, we got 2 out of 3 from Seinfeld and George Costanza.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Just a, you know,
little miserable little man who makes you fucking laugh. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just so many. I mean, just the crazy things he did and the way his mind worked that was completely opposite of the way most of our minds work.
Oh yeah.
Great sitcom character.
And he's the reason for many of the situations they get into.
All the way up until the last one, which was one of the weirder endings from a major sitcom. But yeah, he was a piece of work. Number 7, our second representative from Three's Company, Mr. Jack Tripper.
Oh, okay.
May he rest in peace. Another physical comedian that made that show. You know, just everything from the trouble he got into to, you know, once again, Mr. Furley overhearing him saying the wrong thing, the character he had to play just to live in that apartment.
Right.
And how he did it so wonderfully. And obviously, may he rest in peace as well.
Yeah.
As we come down the home stretch here, number 6, another Cheers representative, Mr. Sam Malone. My favorite bartender, former Major League Baseball pitcher, ladies man, great head of moss, Growing up, that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be Sam Malone. I wanted to own a bar and have a huge little black book.
And you accomplished one of those things.
I actually bought a bar.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the black book.
Oh, no, that's the one I missed. I actually bought a bar. It actually fell through before closing, but at 24, I bought a bar and was going to live that dream.
Wow.
But it ended up not working out. So now we are in to the top 5.
Let's do it.
This is really where, where the best of the best. And I'll start off with number 5 is Fred Sanford.
Oh yes,
from Sanford.
Okay, I'm digging that.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that one. Yeah,
I was waiting to complain. If he wasn't on the list, I was waiting to complain.
Okay.
You were going to do your own.
I was just gonna call you racist or something, but I would have complained too.
Yeah, well, I already canceled Kramer. I put Fred Sanford 5, and when I give you my number 4, it will be apparent I'm not racist. And number 4, Mr. George Jefferson.
Yes.
Nice.
I was wondering when you were going to throw that out
Yeah.
there. I was
Yeah.
like, he's got to be on there.
Yeah, moving on up.
Yeah, definitely.
And talk about canceling things. When you watch those last 2 these shows now, whether it be All in the Family,
they would never. No,
I get, as a white male, every time George Jefferson says the word honky, I can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Like I think it's so funny.
It is funny.
And
because it is funny.
Because it is. And unfortunately, do you guys remember a couple of years ago they did a live Jeffersons and All in the Family?
I remember that was a couple of years ago or so.
Yeah, and I was like, how are they going to pull this off?
Well,
like in today's culture. And they did. And I think they were a little controversial, but just nothing over the top.
Yeah, well, because it's been on TV before, and who knows.
Yeah. Number 3, speaking of racism, Mr. Archie Bunker.
He was very
Archie
racist.
Bunker.
Oh God.
There's a character I'm waiting for. It hasn't been said yet. I'm waiting for it.
I'm looking at the last 2, and I don't know if it's who you're thinking. So I might have missed something.
I'll say it when it comes.
Yep. So Archie Bunker at number 3, just a classic TV show. Once again, could not survive in today's day and age. I'm surprised the reruns are able to be run, quite frankly, because I do not agree with a lot of his takes, but very funny nonetheless. The cranky old man always works. Speaking of cranky old men, at number 2, Mr. Al Bundy.
Yes,
from Married with Children. I think I have more Al Bundy gifts, whether it's the noose around his neck or the sign that says "shoot me."
No ma'am shirts.
no ma'am.
Oh man.
Yeah, Al Bundy is one of my all-time favorites.
I own every single box set of that, of Married with Children. I love that series.
So I had a running line. He had a fat woman came into the shoe store today. that was his reuse.
Exactly. But and I have all the box sets too. And now it's like I almost threw out my Cheers box set the other day just because it's like, what's the point of them now? Because you can get all of these
on digital, and why take up the space?
And number 1. Actually, you know what? Why don't I turn this over to the panel now? Is there anyone that you haven't heard?
Yes.
That you think should either fit in this spot, or it was just a gross miss from me?
Mr. Feeney.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, Boy Meets World.
I thought you were gonna say maybe Bill Cosby, but just his later work.
That's what his early works with got him in trouble, right?
Yeah.
But are you saying Phoenix should have made the list, or he should be in the number 1 slot?
I think there's an argument for both. Actually, he should have absolutely been in the list, but he was a phenomenal character and like an inspirational father figure to so many people. Boy Meets World is a completely underrated show, and they tried to remake it, and it didn't have the same magic, sadly. But God, it was good back when it came out.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
And it never came to mind really. Because I wasn't super into it, but I did watch the show.
Well,
Yeah,
I kind of mentioned it earlier. I think Lucille Ball should have been in it for I Love Lucy because it was a great classic. She was fantastic. And Jackie Gleason, his character Ralph from Honeymooners. Those are two I think deserve to be in the list.
And when you think of the Lucy, Lucille Ball, it's once again, it's the physical humor, great humor. She definitely could have been on this list. I was not a big I Love Lucy guy, but I was a big Honeymooners guy, and Gleason I missed that.
I do too.
No doubt about it.
So I'll tell you who I think the number one should be.
Okay.
Dr. Fraser Crane. So my reason being, he got very popular on Cheers, was a fan favorite there. Then he had his own show for 11 years as the same character. So over 20 years, he's played Fraser Crane on TV, and it's going to get a reboot soon, where he's going to continue the Fraser Crane story. And the humor on Fraser particularly is so witty and quick-witted. It's one of my favorite shows. It's second to Cheers.
Also, I guess there's a whole slew of modern take shows that were not mentioned that I think absolutely deserves at least a slot on this list somewhere, and that is like Parks and Rec, or whatchamacallit, because there's so many phenomenal characters in Parks
I like
and
King
Rec.
of Queens.
Yeah,
King of Queens,
is pretty
The
good.
Office. I know you didn't watch it, but it is literally one of the best sitcoms in the world. You need to watch it.
I believe that, and I do. That's why I made that special thing. And a lot of the more modern ones I have not watched. So for the modern folks, I've just missed it.
In modern standards, there's a lot of shitty sitcoms out there right now. But the classics are very strong. The most recent classics. There's a reason why people rewatch The Office 10 times.
Are there any It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fans, or am I the only shitty person?
Nope, that one's great too.
Yeah, I love that one.
There's one other, but I don't know. He might be number one, but I don't think so. I think I know where you're going with number one, but I was gonna say Homer Simpson.
Yeah, animated.
Hadn't considered animated.
Yeah.
I didn't think animated. But I mean, if you want to talk once again, go back to the Fonzie thing. Iconic characters. There could have been. I'd probably if my mind went to the place of animated, there'd probably be some from South Park on it.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to the animated part. But that's a really good point.
You're cartoonist. You're tunist.
He doesn't watch any of my Tewty tunes.
I watch all your Tewty tunes. But to Ryno's point about Fraser Crane, he came in as a very minor character in Cheers, as just Diane's therapist / boyfriend, and what he took that original character to, and being one of the main characters in Cheers, and just kind of that know-it-all, but he knew how to say it. Like Cliff was a know-it-all and didn't know how to say it. Fraser was he was so good at being kind of the collective conscience for the entire bar, and where everyone went to for help and things along those lines. As Ryno said, he then transitioned that to a wildly success, on his own show. So at number one, it is Dr. Fraser Crane.
Yes.
Wow. Cheers
Look at
and
that.
Fraser, because of exactly what Ryno said. It was the longevity of both shows. It was him coming in as probably a 2-episode character into Cheers and turning that into, to me, the greatest sitcom character of all time.
Wow.
There you go. Biff's
The only
top
other show I
25.
think
Valid list.
there's one other. I would say Joe Bluth of Arrested Development, but
Oh yeah,
is another great one. But all the characters on that show were great. But yeah, there you go.
I mean,
Nice
there's
list. Nice list.
tons that we could add if
Oh,
we
yeah.
just
Yeah,
like,
I know.
go
Oh yeah,
back.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll leave that
Lot-
for Reddit.
Yeah,
Vodka
now that I'm
from
thinking of older
Taxi.
shows, I remember I used to love Get Smart. That was
Oh,
hilarious.
Get
Oh, yeah.
Smart.
That
Maxwell
was good.
Smart.
You know
Yeah.
what show I liked that I didn't really get to see until after it was on? It was just because of DVDs, and it was there were two, Police Squad and
Oh yeah, the
Sledgehammer.
old police
Those-
squads.
Oh yeah.
That show was so great.
Murphy
was.
Brown was another good one.
Oh, Murphy Brown.
Ah.
Oh, you know what's another good one? Oh, I forgot that. I don't know who it would be on this show, but
What about the Odd Couple?
News Radio.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah,
News
there we go.
Radio
Yeah.
is a tremendous show.
Phil Hartman was a genius.
Yes, absolutely. Once again, it's so
The Bob Newhart show. That's kind of
Yeah.
a sleeper too.
that's
Ooh.
an old.
The classic Dick Van Dyke Show.
This is the sort of list like first of all, it's a lot of work to put together. So
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you for doing that. But also like even if just imagine if you would have to watch every sitcom ever made,
Mhm.
and like you would have to have the same sensitivities as literally everyone else, which no one does. So it's like
Yeah.
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 And that's why I started this off with so many disclaimers. AP.
Yeah.
Like it's like this is one guy's opinion.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you can go make your own list. No one's
Yeah.
stopping you. So
I
if
mean-
you don't
Right.
like it, please go ahead.
That's right.
AB, you were
Don't
telling
share it with us.
you were surprised. I have a list of every character in DCL ranked by affinity. And I said, and you said, why have you never shared this list with anyone? I'm like, because I don't want to fucking hear it. because it's my list based on how I
that
play.
character's trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
How could you rank him so low, man? He's the best.
SEKJU wanted my physical list, and I said, I'll give it to you, but don't say anything. like I just because I realize everyone has their own opinions. You're going to see, obviously me very heavily here on cheers and, and things along those lines, because that's what I love. But we thought we didn't think we had as much DCL to talk about today. So we thought that this would be a nice New Year's Day discussion. But then we did 45 minutes on DCL. So we've kept you guys a good portion of your New Year's Day.
That's right. That's right. I think
And
that's
thank you for waiting till the end, especially to Christina Applegate. Thank you
Right.
for. I know you had a lot going on.
Yes, exactly.
all right. Time to take it around the horn and get the last word. Redmus, take us to church, pal.
Happy New Year to everybody. Glad to spend the day with you. Just want to tell everybody out there, it is New Year. Let's start fresh. Forget all the things that have happened, in the past that have been bad or detrimental to you. Be careful making New Year's resolutions. Don't set yourself up for failure. Start with a baby step and say, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to accomplish it. Don't just try and say like, oh, I'm going to be an expert in Japanese by the end of the year. It's not really a realistic goal unless you're, super, adept at learning things like that. But I'm just saying what I mean is take baby steps. Don't be unrealistic, and you'll accomplish that goal. And then that will just lead to further goals that you can build upon that, and always be positive about it. And I wish everybody the best in this new year.
Awesome.
Thanks, Redmus.
As a great actor once said, I'm baby stepping. I'm doing the work. I'm not a slacker.
There you go.
If by the way, if What About Bob was a sitcom,
Mhm.
Bill Murray would have been number one in this list.
Bob, did someone mention Bob Newhart? That was a great show. When he said Bob, it just
Ryno.
popped in my head.
Ryno.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Biff, you're up next. Tell it like it is.
Happy New Year, folks. I've spoken enough. Thanks for hanging in with us.
Worst
Roger
sitcom character ever.
that. Roger that. Thanks, pal. Tewty, give us your last word, man.
Sure. I don't like New Year's resolutions, mainly because the word resolution gets so because people make them and then they just like whatever, never mind. I don't care anymore. Like January 10th comes and all resolutions are like forgotten. I like the word goal better, and I've talked about goals before. You don't need a new year to have a new goal, but maybe I'll share some goals of mine so that you can realize how realistic goals can be. Like my goals this year are get a different job, which hopefully will happen this week. We'll see. I want to start a cycling class. That's what I want to, well, not like lead one. I want to be a part of one. I want to be one of the 50 people cycling and throwing up afterwards. That's what I want to do. And then I want to save up at least a couple grand and then next year buy a house. So that's, you know, that's my list of goals. Some are long term, some are short term, and you can have a nice little mix. And I hope that you find, you know, a goal for yourself that helps make you motivate yourself and be happy in your future endeavors. And that's all I got to say.
Well said, Tewty. Thank you, buddy. All right. Ryno, help us round home base, pal.
Yeah, since this will probably be my last appearance, since I spoiled Biff's list like a dick. I didn't see it beforehand, so I don't know. But no, just thanks for having
a lot
me.
of us do things out. I think any one of them could have been number. So count.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for having me on though. It was a great experience, a lot of fun, and just wish everybody health and happiness in the new year. You got those two things, we can figure the rest of shit out.
Agreed. Thank you very much, Ryno. Well said. Miss Junk, you get the last word. Give us the bottom line today.
Thank you. This feels like a life coach podcast, and I love it. I have more New Year's resolution advice. Like, you don't have to start on January 1st, and if you don't do it on January 2nd, set another date. But the one thing that I started doing, I do write a lot, so I started keeping track of days which I wrote. So I kept it on a board, and then it's once you start a streak. Like I was at 20 something days. It's like you want to keep it going. So you have that streak and then you're like, I got to keep doing it. And that made me do it even more and more. But then on the flip side, when you miss a day, don't let that become the new streak. Just get back and start. Don't let the negative be a streak of like, a negative streak of 3 in a row that I haven't. Just turn it around and try and make it a positive streak.
Very well said. Very well said. And thank you guys. And thank you one and all for being with us today. And we want to thank all of you for taking the time to be with us today. I just misspoke. Get on our website, atlantisafterdark.com. Grab some cool swag from the merch store. Get on Discord and talk directly with us. And then hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. For Biff, for Retmus, for SEKJU, Ryno, Tewty, and DCL Junk, we'll see you all right here next time for another fantabulous episode of Double AD. So long, everybody. Happy New Year.